How are you guys? Okay. Alright. That's good. Alright, so I don't know how many of you guys were at Mass this Sunday, but if you guys are talking or somebody next to you is talking, ask them to be quiet, please. Thank you. Alright. So I don't know how many of you guys were at Mass this Sunday, but the Evangelio, it was like one of my favorite stories in the Bible, so I'm just going to tell it to you guys really quick. So one day, Jesus tells the apostles, alright guys, let's go on the boat, I want to take a vacation, let's go, and they're like, okay, let's go. And now the apostles, they were expert fishermen. So they get on their little boat, and they're like, whatever, on the boat. And then out of nowhere, this huge storm comes in. I'm talking about really, 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 really big. So this really big storm comes in, and Jesus decides that he's going to take a little nap because he's tired. So he goes, he grabs his little pillow, and he takes a nap. Meanwhile, the whole storm is going outside, and like the waves are hitting the boat and all of that stuff. And Peter, he gets really, really scared, and he's like, oh my God, we're going to drown. So they were expert fishermen. So you know, if he thought they were going to drown, it must have been a really, really bad storm. So he goes in, and he's like, Jesus. And then Jesus, he gets up, he's like, does his little yawn, rubs his eye, and he's like, what happened, man? Why did you wake me up out of my sleep? And then he's like, well, you know, Jesus, I don't know if this is really going to matter to you, but we're drowning. Jesus, like, he was sleeping, so he wasn't really like, he's like, what happened? He's like, we're drowning. I don't know if you care, but we're drowning. And Jesus is like, alright. He does his little yawn, he walks outside, he looks at the water, and he's like, hey, shut up. Be quiet. And then the sea is like, the party's over. Alright. So then they had to be still. And so then, you know, all the apostles are like, oh, thank God, or thank Jesus. I don't know. And then they're like, Jesus comes to them and he's like, what is wrong with you guys? You know when you do something stupid and Oscar is like, what's wrong with you? Yeah, that's what Jesus did to them. He's like, what's wrong with you guys? Where is your faith? I'm on the boat. Do you guys really think we're gonna drown? I'm in the boat. Where is your faith? Everybody repeat after me. Jesus. Everybody repeat after me. Jesus is in my boat. I can't hear you guys. There's too many of you guys. Jesus is in my boat. I don't have to be afraid. Okay. So then there's this other lady, right? Her name is Martha. And so Jesus really liked her. Like they were good friends. He liked his sister too. And like they like sprayed Jesus with like perfume, and they wiped his feet with their hair and stuff. So you know he was like, oh, you know, they care about me. So he was very fond of them. And one day their brother Lazarus got sick. He was a very sick person. And so they went to call Jesus, right? They're like, somebody go tell Jesus that my brother is sick so that he can come. So they go tell Jesus, and Jesus is sitting there with his apostles, and they're like, oh, Lázaro está enfermo. And he's like, ah, pues está bien. Yo voy para allá ahora. Right? And so then, you know, a day passed, and Jesus is still there, you know, he's just hanging out with his apostles. And then another day passed, and so 2 days passed, and then after those 2 days, he's like, okay, now let's go, vamos a ver a Lázaro, vamos a ver a Lázaro. So they're on their way, and Martha, she hears that Jesus is coming. She hears that he's coming, and she runs out of her house. She's like, I'm going to give it to him. I called for him like 2 days ago, and now my brother's dead. Watch, ooh, when I see him, I'm going to go. And then she sees him from far away, right? And then she's like, where were you? said, if you would have been here, he would have never died. And then after she yelled at him, she was like, but I know that anything that you ask the Father for, he'll give it to you. So, you know. And so then Jesus is like, all right, relax, I'm here. And then he's like, Marta, él va a resucitar. And then Marta was like, come on, Jesus, yo sé que él va a resucitar cuando todos los muertos resuciten y blah, 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 blah. And then he's like, no, I'm talking about he's going to resurrect. And then he did his little thing. He was like, Holy Spirit, and then Lázaro resucitó, salió de la tumba, and blah, blah, blah. You guys know the rest. And now, there was this other case where Jesus, somebody came and ran to him. His name was Jairo. He comes running to him. He's like, my daughter's sick. Can you help me? And Jesus is like, okay, let's go. Let's go see, what's going on. And I want you guys to picture this, right? You're walking, right? And then somebody just grabs your clothes. Picture that. You're just walking, and somebody grabs your clothes. What would you do? You'd be like, what are you doing? But right, he didn't actually see this person. There was a woman that she was very sick, she had blood problems, and she thought, if I could only touch el manto de Jesús, I'll be healed. If I could only touch Jesus for 1 second, I'll be healed. So she goes and she you guys remember in the youth explosion, the Holy Spirit play, how he came in and he's crawling on the floor. That was basically what she did. And she grabbed his manto, and Jesus felt the power going out of him. And he's like, espérate, what's going on here? And then he's like, there was a big crowd. And he's like, who touched me? Who did it? And then she told him the truth. She was like, oh, it was me. And he said, hija, tu fe te ha salvado. Hija, tu fe te ha salvado. And he was healed. And then they keep walking. They're going to the girl's house. And then what happened was that the girl died while they were on the way there. And so he's like, the father of the girl was like, she died, so for what am I going to keep bothering you, Lord? Just go home because she's dead. So it's not even worth it. And he just said, this is the only thing that he said to her. He said, no tengas miedo, solamente ten fe. No tengas miedo, solamente ten fe. I don't know how many times Jesus said in the Bible, your faith has saved you, or don't be afraid and have faith. I tried to count so I could tell you guys, but it was too many times, so I don't know how many times he actually said it. But, we are, if you guys look at the screen, 21 days away from Youth Explosion, the conference. Actually, Explosion is spelled wrong right there, but it's okay. Youth Explosion, the conference. We're 21 days away. 21 days away. Many times we go through situations where we don't have enough faith. And even though Jesus is right here in our boat, we come up to him, we're like Peter, we come running. Jesus, we're drowning. And when he wakes up, what did he say to Peter? Don't be afraid. I'm here. I'm in your boat. So I know we have been planning this Youth Explosion Conference for a while. And I've been very, 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 very nervous. Very, very nervous. Why? PPAC fits 3,500 people. I don't know how many of you guys have actually been inside PPAC. If I can figure out how to make this thing bigger, it would be great. Where? Oh.